President-elect Yoon Suk-yeol has named People's Party leader Ahn Cheol-soo as the chair of the Presidential Transitional Committee. As he had promised during the presidential campaign, Yoon took the first step in shaping a joint administration.
As expected, Ahn Cheol-soo was appointed to lead the Transitional Committee. Yoon Suk-yeol said Ahn shares his values and political philosophy.
저와 국정운영 가치와 철학을 공유하고 안 대표도 인수위원회를 이끌 의지가 있고 저 역시도 적임자라 판단했습니다.
PPP representative Kwon Young-se, who had led Yoon's campaign, was named the committee's vice chair. Former Jeju Governor Won Il-yong will lead the planning committee set up to oversee the actualization of campaign pledges. The Transitional Committee is comprised of 7 subcommittees, 1 committee and 2 special committees. Anne will also serve as the head of the Special Committee for COVID-19 response.
코로나 문제는 우리 인수위원장께서 방역과 의료 이런 분야에 이제 나름 전문가시고 그래서 제가 이 부분을 부탁을 드렸습니다.
With nearly all positions filled, the Transitional Committee aims to be launched on March 21st. Yoon started work Monday at his Tongidong office in central Seoul and met with Ahn to discuss how to run the committee.
The Democratic Party has set up an emergency committee to overhaul the party following its defeat in the presidential election and prepare for the upcoming local elections. The committee is being co-headed by a young activist who fought against digital sexual crimes. Half of its members are in their 20s and 30s.
The day before the presidential election, Park Ji-hyun, who was on the Democratic Party's election committee, urged female voters in their 20s and 30s to vote for Lee Jae-myung.
일상을 살아갈 때 안전할 수 있는 사회, 여성이 면접을 볼 때 애기 언제 낳을 거냐, 결혼 언제 할 거냐 라는 질문 안 받는 게 당연한 사회 안 되려면 이재명 후보 뽑아야 합니다.
The DP has recruited Park to co-head its emergency committee. She was one of the college students who shed light on a cyber sex trafficking case.
성범죄 대책 및 여성 정책은 물론 사회적 약자의 옆과 청년의 편에서 정책 전반을 이끌어 주실 것입니다.
The move is believed to reflect the support of women in their 20s and 30s for the ruling party's presidential candidate. Park has vowed zero tolerance for anyone in the party who commits sex crimes by abusing their power and inflicting secondary damage. She also promised to increase the ratio of women in the party primaries. The emergency committee also includes entrepreneurs and activists in their 30s who were on the party's election camp. Half of the members are in their 20s and 30s, including Lee So-young.
2030 세대가 보다 더 가까이 할 수 있는 그런 정당으로 쇄신해 나갈 것이다.
Although the emergency committee has been set up quickly, concerns still remain. Some members are calling for its head, Yoon Oh-jung, to step down because of his responsibility as a party's floor leader and for its defeat in the presidential election, while others highlight the need to refrain from carrying out open criticism.
The probe into the Seongnam land development scandal continues to be a thorny issue even after the presidential election. When the Democratic Party demanded a special prosecutor to look into the allegations, President-elect Yoon Suk-yeol said that any measures should be taken. This issue is likely to stir up controversy in the March parliamentary session.
When asked about bringing in a special prosecutor to look into the land development scandal, Yoon Suk-yeol gave the following answer.
부정부패에 대한 진상규명에는 그 진상이 확실하게 규명될 수 있는 어떠한 조치라도 국민들 다 보시는데 해야 된다고 저는 생각합니다. 거기에는 무슨 꼼수라던가 그런 것도 없고 전 늘 주장해 왔습니다. 작년부터.
In a press conference held earlier in the morning, the Democratic Party's Emergency Committee Chair Yoon Oh-jung had asked the National Assembly to pass the Special Prosecutor Bill in March.
국민의힘 이 후보였던 윤석열 당선자께서 특검에 동의한다라는 말씀도 하셨던 것으로 제가 기억을 하고 있습니다. 그래서 이제 여야가 의견이 모아졌던 것이기 때문에.
Both sides appear to be receptive to the idea of having a special prosecutor investigate the development scandal. The question is whether this is actually possible. The DP and the PPP have each presented their own special prosecutor bills. Their ideas differ widely in who to investigate and how to nominate a special prosecutor. Since both parties have played up the suspicions on the two presidential candidates by releasing several transcripts during the campaign, they are likely to have a tough time discussing pertinent issues, starting with investigation targets, if they do start talking at all. Some people in the PPP claim that it would be more efficient to leave the investigation to the prosecution under the incoming government.
A Ladd ministry panel investigating January's Delhi apartment collapse in Gwangju says the construction and supporting methods for the 39th floor were arbitrarily changed from the initial design. In a press conference held today, the fact-finding committee said that an additional concrete wall was installed to make the weight applied on the floor heavier than originally planned. The panel added most of the concrete samples collected at the accident site fell short of the hardness requirement. Meanwhile, South Korea has added over 300,000 new COVID-19 cases for the third straight day. Its daily tally grew by 309,790 as of midnight of Monday. The Central Disaster Control Headquarters plans to begin vaccinating children aged between 5 and 11 from late this month. Testing and treatment systems will also be revised to better cope with the rapid spread of Omicron and the surging number of COVID-19 patients.
The government has decided to vaccinate children aged between 5 and 11 starting March 31st. On Monday, the Minister of Interior and Safety, Chun Hae-chul, announced the decision in a meeting of the Central Disease Control Headquarters. Under the government's plan, parents can book shots from March 24th and have their children inoculated at designated clinics from March 31st. The minister said the safety and efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines have been proven sufficiently in other countries, which began vaccinations earlier than South Korea. He explained the decision is due to the high proportion of younger children among COVID-19 patients. Currently, the age group accounts for over 15% of total infections. They will receive the same Pfizer vaccines that were given to adults. Starting Monday, the third dose will be given to adolescents aged between 12 and 17 who took the basic 2 shots at least 3 months ago. The government asked high-risk children, including those with weaker immunity, to get vaccinated. Starting Monday, those with COVID-19 symptoms don't need to get PCR tests and will be able to receive medical treatment if they test positive in rapid antigen tests taken at clinics. Patients without symptoms or those with mild symptoms can receive medical attention at ordinary wards or ORs instead of the negative pressure rooms. Those living with COVID-19 patients will no longer be required to self-isolate regardless of vaccination status. Unvaccinated students can also attend classes even if their family members test positive for COVID-19. The nation added some 309,700 new cases as of Monday midnight. 200 more people died from the virus compared to the previous day. The death toll has risen to 10,595. The number of critically ill patients increased by 84 to 1,158. It has been hovering over the 1,000 level for a week.
Wildfires that started in Ulsan, Gyeongsang-buk-do province and spread northward to Samcheong in Gangwon-do province have finally been put out after 9 days. The first rain in a month played a big part. Now, as the main fire has come under control, authorities plan to help displaced residents return to their homes.
Firefighters began gaining control of the wildfire Sunday morning when the rain soaked the area. The Forest Service declared the main Ulsan fire extinguished at 9 a.m. Sunday. The fire at Eunbongsan Mountain, which proved difficult to put out until the end, came under control thanks to Sunday's rain. Firefighters first contained the flames burning toward the residential area before defending Eunbongsan Mountain and the Kumgang Pine Tree Colony. Firefighting efforts were difficult as the wind kept changing directions and thick smoke made it difficult for helicopters to fly over the fire. In particular, the rocky Eunbongsan Mountain, 1,000 meters tall, continued to pose danger as the heated rocks didn't cool down. Fire helicopters and special firefighters were deployed to put out the flames. As the main fire was finally extinguished, authorities now plan to help the displaced residents and restore the damaged forests. 20 temporary homes are to be built in the badly damaged Bungmyeon village and 50 additional houses on an empty lot in the Chukbyeon Marine Industrial Complex for evacuees from villages where temporary housing cannot be built.
정부는 진화 대응 단계를 수습 복구 단계로 전환하여 피해 조사와 피해 지역 주민의 조기 생활 안정을 지원할 계획입니다.
The latest wildfire caused no casualties, but it was recorded as the longest and most destructive one in history. It took more than 200 hours to put out the main fire since it started in Ulchin at 11:17 a.m. on March 4th. Authorities have tentatively calculated that roughly 25,000 hectares of forest have been burnt, when including the fires in Gangneung and Donghae.
The South Korean sensation Squid Game has won Best Non-English Language TV Series at this year's Critics' Choice Awards. The Critics' Choice Association held the 27th award ceremony in Los Angeles on Sunday and named the all-Korean Netflix original Best Foreign Language Series. K-pop sensation BTS drew a total of 2.46 million fans online and offline with its concert BTS Permission to Dance on Stage Seoul. Its agency Big Entertainment said that in particular, 1.4 million people watched live viewing held at some 3,000 cinemas in 75 countries worldwide, setting a record number for a non-movie event. BTS will hold a concert in Las Vegas next month. Balloon flower roots are known for their medicinal properties in reducing coughs and inflammation. Saponin contained in the roots play a key role in this. Korean researchers have developed a technology for expanding its amount by 8-fold.
Balloon flower root powder is mixed with distilled water and steamed at 60 degrees Celsius for 2 hours. Lab mice with weak immune systems were fed the extract for 10 days. Their body weight increased and natural killer cells which destroy inflammatory and cancerous cells returned to normal levels. The National Institute of Agricultural Sciences of the Rural Development Administration developed a technology for expanding Phytocodin D, a kind of saponin contained in balloon flower roots with outstanding immune-boosting properties. Lab tests showed the amount of Phytocodin D increased 8 times when heated at 60 degrees for about 2 hours. It is also safe as it requires no artificial chemicals and can be utilized at farms and small firms.
많이 섭취해왔고 기능성이 있지만 좀 더 효과적으로 먹을 수 있는 다양하게 소비자 맞춤형 제품을 개발하면 소비자들이 국민 건강에 면역 증진에 도움이 될 것으로.
The RDA made patent registration for the manufacturing method and immunity boosting properties and is preparing to commercialize the product after conducting clinical trials.